But, of course, guys, you know what time it is. You know what we've got to do. You know what it's about. Let's do it. It's the craziest news of the day. Yo, this news is crazy. Of course, the craziest news of the day, guys. No surprise at all. It has to do with Sam Raimi. In talks, but it's pretty much confirmed at this point that Homeboy is going to be directing Doctor Strange 2 into the Multiverse of Madness. Now, this is crazy. Of course, an exclusive coming from Variety. Literally says that he's going to have to get up to speed. I'll read right from it here. It says, Sam Raimi, who helped launch the modern superhero movie with 2002 Spider-Man, is in talks to direct Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness from Marvel Studios. Variety has learned. Kudos to Variety. They got the exclusive. Sam Raimi replaces original director Scott Derickson, who Variety reported on January 9th had officially departed the project due to creative differences. Derickson will remain as executive producer. Raimi, meanwhile, will need to get up to speed before the film's scheduled production start date in May. Marvel had no comment, which is basically like, yeah, that's happening, okay? So they go on here to talk about Sam Raimi doing the Spider-Man trilogy, blah, 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 yada, 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 talking about his history with the Evil Dead. And we will be getting into all of that as well because it's very important to note his history as a director and how important and clutch this is for the studio, okay? But before we get into breaking all of that down, I got a little something that I would like to say. I got a little something I would like to tell you guys. It's a hot day. Ooh, yeah. Okay. First up. New to this bit. My lawyers have asked me to read this. The following segment is meant to be parody and does not necessarily represent the views of the Den of Nerds LLC. Please direct all general displeasure and proverbial butthurt to our email or our social media. Now that we have that out of the way, let's get into this. And to be honest with you, the only person that's really going to get butthurt about this is Scott Derickson. So if Scott Derickson sees this and gets all butthurt, look, I'm sorry, man. Honestly, it's a terrible look for you. What do you want me to say? But the truth is, I got a hot take about Mr. Feige. Folks, Kevin Feige is low-key gangster in a way that nobody truly appreciates. Nobody truly appreciates how low-key gangster this man is. Of course, I love the MCU. Of course, I love what Marvel has done with not only their comic books, but just creating this shared universe. It's amazing. And I like Feige for that. But I don't stan Feige for that. I don't love Feige for that. I don't worship at the altar of Feige for that. But let me tell you why I do stan Mr. Kevin Feige. When Kevin Feige was asked about Martin Scorsese's comments about movies, he said this: everybody is entitled to their opinion. Everyone is entitled to repeat that opinion. Everyone is entitled to write op-eds about that opinion. And I look forward to what will happen next. But in the meantime, we're going to keep making movies. You see, that is fucking gangster. The response is perfect. He's putting him in his place. He's being respectful about it, but that is a shot across the bow. As Marty, keep doing Marty, we're going to continue making movies and killing it. That's gangster shit. Also, when he found out that Warner Brothers was creating Batman v Superman, he streamlined Civil War and beat DC to the hero fighting movie thing, and he made a better one than Batman v Superman. That is fucking gangster. When DC announced that they were making New Gods, a famous Jack Kirby comic book, Marvel Studios and Kevin Feige announces The Eternals, another Jack Kirby property, and they're probably going to beat, well, not probably, they are going to beat DC to doing the New Gods, and it's probably going to be a better film. That is fucking gangster. And this is not the first time that Kevin Feige has replaced a very good popular director that fans were very sad to lose with someone who kind of upscales the choice. I don't know if you remember this, but Ava DuVernay was actually going to direct Black Panther. Ava DuVernay was going to be the person that brought back Black Panther to the screen. She had creative differences with Marvel and Mr. Feige, and he replaced her with Ryan Coogler. That is fucking gangster. And when it comes to this new situation with Scott Derickson, this was truly a bad look for Feige and for the MCU. For the first time in a long time, there was bad public relations coming out for Marvel Studios. The fact is, there was this narrative that they didn't want horror. Feige didn't want a horror movie, didn't want the scares in the film, right? And when Scott Derickson left, that was a big thing out there. People were saying, well, this movie's not going to be horror. This is a totally different vision than what Scott had. I'm out. A lot of people really like Scott Derickson. And Kevin Feige just replaced him with an absolute legend. Not only a man who has done some of the most iconic horror work in the history of Hollywood that'll put the kibosh on all of this nonsense talk about how Kevin Feige doesn't want a horror movie or scary elements in this film, but he's also going to bring in the guy that pretty much launched the modern day superhero films. With the 2002 Spider-Man film, Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 3, which we don't talk about, but whatever, it's still, it's cool. This guy, Sam Raimi, is literally a legend that people look. I'll tell you right now, this isn't a part of the hot take, but it's important to note. Yesterday, Ken Cologne expressed that he had forgotten that Sam Raimi was the horror guy. Most of the young people, the millennials, they actually just remember him as the Spider-Man guy, which, by the way, is freaking perfect. That's freaking perfect. This is a subliminal threat by Mr. Kevin Feige. This is something that all of the other young directors, all of the other creative people that want to get their vision out. You know what I mean? They might have creative differences with Mr. Feige. This is like Kevin Feige saying to them, if you step out of line, I will replace you with a fucking legend and no one will remember your name. And that, my friends, is fucking gangster. Gangster as you can get. And it's something that not enough people give Kevin Feige credit for because it is truly gangster AF.